Hey guys, this is my YouTube channel, Russian American Renaissance, and I'm making a video of Jake. It's my friend from Meetup who decided to study Russian, and he has, I think, a lot of reasons to do that. Let me just to show myself. Покажи меня просто, чтобы они знали, кто это. Это я. Hi guys, this is me, Victoria James. And you're not gonna see me again in this video. So maybe it's for good. So Jake, it's a really spontaneous video. We just decided to make it a couple minutes ago. And I'm very curious just to find out and learn more why people decide to learn Russian, because it's not a very popular language. Everybody knows that in America and in Europe. It's not like Spanish or French or something like that. So Jake, do you have any specific reasons why you decided to learn Russian?
Sure. First is I love languages, and this is just another language I've always been curious about for a long time. And so I've just started over the last couple of years learning. And I also have a beautiful Russian girlfriend, Natalia.
Can we show her
Yeah.
for a second?
Hello.
She's here. Hey, this is our friend and Jake's
And-
wife.
And yeah, it's already happened now. Yeah, it's very good, and it's good for me to learn Russian, because then I'll be able to speak with her family, one-on-one. I don't have to translate through her. I can speak to them directly, which is great.
So did you find that it was important for you to speak the language with your wife's family?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely
helped you?
Just like I think them seeing the effort that I gave was important.
Yes.
Even if it wasn't really good Russian at the time, it still isn't super good.
I'm agree
But-
with you, because I feel like for a lot of people living here, it's not necessarily about people knowing much about Russia, but it's more about respect and desire and some effort to learn about you.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's kind of what it is?
And also it kind of, and I was in a place there where there wasn't so many Americans in Kazan, and it was kind of out of the ordinary for me to come up and try to talk in Russian to somebody there. I think that's
true.
changing now though, because of all the soccer games and stuff. But there's still not so many foreigners just living there in the grocery store.
So it's hard to meet somebody from America in Russia right now still, you think, or from English-speaking country?
I think if you look for them, they're around. But I mean, just walking down the street or going to some regular restaurant store, you're not going to really find them.
And how long have you been learning about Russia and culture and the language?
I think it's like 2 years, but it's not like a full 2 years, because it goes. Sometimes I study every day, like for many hours, and then sometimes I'll just study a couple times a week. So it goes up and down, but it's been the past couple of years.
It's not really a formal learning, you just created your own
Yeah,
curriculum.
yeah. Because learning Russian in America is really, really expensive. You have to be creative and find some other ways to learn.
I see.
For example, the university here, at my university in the East Coast, they have a 3-month Russian intensive course, and you go every day, and it's like a really good program. It's $7,000 or $8,000. And this is dumb, because you can just take that and go to Russia. And
That's true.
yeah.
That's
And
true.
a lot of the courses, if you look at the price of the courses, and you compare that to like hourly lessons with someone online, it's just a way better deal to create something on your own.
So what was the most difficult? What is the most difficult for you?
Cases are the worst.
Cases.
Absolute cases.
Because you guys don't have it in English. You don't
we just
decline
add S.
nouns.
She wants, he wants, they want. You just just move the S around, and you don't even have to do that. People still understand you.
Yeah. And just to explain you, for those who have never been learning Russian, depending on relationships between verb and noun, we kind of change the ending of the noun, and that's really, really kind of when
It takes a long time.
it takes a long time to understand. We have a lot of cases.
Good thing to do when learning Russian, just drill cases. Spend a long time just drilling cases. It's
Awesome.
always a good exercise.
So what else do you do besides just not a formal learning, but just, okay, what do you do? I'm not sure what you do to learn Russian.
So I have an app right now. Right now I'm just building vocabulary, because I'm trying to get to 2,000 words. With 2,000 words, you can understand about 80% of a newspaper, right? and you won't understand like little nuances of a news story, but like you'll get the big, all the details of the big picture with like 2,000 words of Russian. So I'm at maybe 700 or 800 words.
Right.
So I can look at a news story right now and kind of just barely get the idea of what, but I need more vocabulary.
Need more vocabulary.
Yeah, so I'm spending a lot of time doing that, and it's at a cost of cases and stuff. Because if I talk with Dahlia and stuff, my cases are all messed up. But it's okay for me now. I'm just gonna build vocabulary. So I use an app called Anki, and then it uses something called spaced repetition, and it schedules when I should review words, and it does a very good job of that. Because language learning is hard and it involves forgetting, and people get frustrated because they don't really understand that forgetting is an important part of learning, right? You need to learn something, forget it, and then reinforce it, and then each time you relearn it, it's like instilled more, like it's better instilled in your brain.
I see.
And so, like you'll learn something, and then the next day you forget 75% of it. Okay, learn it again. Then you'll forget 75% of it, not 2 days from now, but maybe 4 or 8 days.
So your advice for people just not to be frustrated with the fact that it goes away and after it comes back.
If you are going to learn a language, go look up what medical students do to learn. Because medical students have a much better idea of how to learn a language. They don't even know this than like most people that have like think they learn languages and stuff. Because there's thousands of medical terms that they have to remember forever. They can't just like learn something in medical school and just forget it, because it's gonna be a problem later on, right?
And your memory is not
And everyone who's learned
endless,
a language,
obviously.
and everyone who's learned a language has their own like bag of tricks that apply to just them, you know. And also there's a lot of people that say they learn language, they say they speak it really well, but they don't, you know.
Just to be realistic about it too, and try to communicate with native speakers maybe.
Yeah.
Does it help you when you listen
to listen
to native speakers,
yeah,
for
it
example?
definitely helps.
It helps.
Yeah, for sure. You have to be around the language, and you have to be listening to it, and you have to really like make an effort to actively listen too, because I like out here in the meetup, I could just sit at the end of the table and just
Listen
not pay
to what
attention.
people say, and you pick
but
up the
I have
melody.
to really get myself to focus and to pay attention and try to pick things out. And if you even if it's just a game of like, okay, I got like 20% of that, that's progress,
Right.
So for me, Russian is not a 1 or 2 year goal; it's a 5-year goal for me.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
that's
something-
true.
and I think that's okay. There's a lot of these apps and horrible advertisements out there that are like, hey, you got to learn a language in 6 months, or you got to learn a language in 2 weeks, and it's all a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Because, you can learn a language in 2 weeks,
Just
maybe
to
order some
travel.
food. Yeah. But to know it well with mastery and to be able to talk about a subject with nuance, it takes time. And
But
it's
we're
okay.
gonna keep an eye on you on my YouTube channel and watch your progress during 5 years. So
Okay. I'm a lot better than I was last year, and it's important for myself to remind myself of that, because I get frustrated when I don't understand stuff. But then I remember where I was last year, where it was absolutely nothing, just like.
That's quite fascinating, because I was always fascinated with people who learn things mostly just out of curiosity, because obviously a lot of people immigrate, they have a practical purpose because they live here, they just need English. It's not like it's just because I want to read William Shakespeare. For some people it might be the case, but not for
Yeah.
everybody. But that's quite
But
fascinating.
Russian language is harder to learn here than other places.
Yeah, that's
You have to
very true.
really go out of your way to find it. It's like, and also there's a problem in America with understanding what languages are available to learn and what languages are in demand financially.
Yeah.
Because learning a language comes at a big cost. So for me, learning Russian, it's going to take about 1,500 hours of time to
Yeah.
before I get really good.
Oh, yeah,
And that's a lot of
understand.
time you could spend learning a new programming language or learning something at your job or something. So a lot of people don't make the decision to do that. And so, but what a lot of people don't know is they can spend their time doing a language that's in demand that maybe they're not aware of, and
Yeah.
that can really be financially rewarding.
That's
So,
true.
For
That's
example, if someone in software learns like Burmese, where they're trying to completely rebuild the country's tech infrastructure, that would be fantastic to learn. But people don't know that.
People don't
And-
know.
Yeah, and
What do you know about Russian being used somewhere
Russian
here? What do you
actually-
think is the because I meet a lot of people who have just they know a lot about Russia because they're from educated families,
Yeah.
and people who are usually positive towards Russian culture usually the ones from educated families. Let's be honest, because they know bad stuff and good stuff about Russia. So, do you think if there was more understanding of the country, it would increase?
That would be a really great thing because a lot of people I've talked to before, like, hey, I'm living in Russia this year. They're like, oh my God, it must be really dangerous or something. Why are you living there? And I was like, Russia's been perfectly safe. Absolutely nothing has ever happened. Except for taxi drivers. Taxi
Yeah.
drivers are a problem.
I mean, we do
But-
have problems, but
but
the
it's-
problem that people
I can walk down the
exaggerate a
street,
lot.
I'm safe, you know.
Yeah.
I don't. So
A lot of exaggerations, let's put it this way.
and so we have kind of the problem with America and Russia is that we are kind of each other's boogeyman, you know, and we're always. Americans have this idea of what Russia is, and the Russians have an idea of what America is, and neither
Right.
one is accurate.
None of them is
And
accurate. That's
part,
true.
I don't know. It's so I think Russian can kind of almost qualify as kind of this exotic language that people don't really.
At
think
this
about.
point, yeah. At this point, that's very true.
Because the popular ones here are like the Romance languages. People want to go to like college and learn Italian so they can go have a summer there, and I don't know.
Do you think having more representation of maybe culture, language, food, it would help? Because I feel like people have very negative view of Russian food because it's good, but it might be a little boring for somebody who has been eating quesadilla every day or Mexican food. Like, oh, this is just potato and bread,
You know,
potato and
Russian food's good. You have to have a restaurant, and then
Yeah.
Russians have to patronize it, and then it has to be stable. Then more Americans will come check it out.
Right.
You know, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
People are checking it out here, but this really isn't like this is Palmeni, but this is not a Russian restaurant.
yeah,
It's
because
not.
we're
Look,
actually
like for example, see this rainbow flag? You
Yeah.
don't see that in Russia.
yeah, because we're at the restaurant that pretends to be kind of a
It's
Russian
a hipster.
place.
It's like hipsters making Russian food. Just
yeah,
because.
yeah.
But
With something else you do, songs or movies, television, besides just
I
your
like
app?
TV shows, but I haven't found one yet that I like. So I was watching. Was it Krasny Korola? Karyelova?
Красная Королева?
Oh, it was so dumb. It was the dumbest show I've ever seen in my life. So I'm gonna try to find a new one.
My mom was watching that, and that was like a very exaggerated story of women's suffering in Soviet Union, and she's a
Yeah.
top model
And
or
then-
something.
Yeah, and then like everything is like falling apart, and then for some reason she just gets super lucky. Okay, go watch the show. You'll understand what I'm talking
Yeah. All right, but before you started learning Russian, what did you know? What compelled you? Did you have anything that
about.
happened in your life?
Actually, no, I was curious about two languages, Russian or Farsi. I was going to do one of those two. And I played around with Farsi for a little while, but I decided to just, do Russian. And it's something that I've spent a long time and I'm consistent with. Because I've done other languages and I spent a lot of time with them, and then I just dropped them because they weren't something I was going to find myself continually using. So with Russian, it's something that surprised me. I find myself I'm still doing it, and I'm consistent with it, and I'm consistently using it. So it's a good thing. So there's a lot of languages I would love to learn, but I have to ask myself, would I be consistent with it?
Right.
You know,
But what did you like? What you didn't like in Russia?
in Russia,
Yeah. What you enjoyed? What really made you kind of scared or shocked?
Restaurant service there is horribly slow. And we have really good service here. There's a lot of things. Supermarkets kind of suck.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
It's Russian culture.
You mean the
is kind of-
choices or cleanliness? I apologize. In the supermarkets.
Russia's clean. The supermarkets are clean. Everything's clean. I'm talking about like the choices and stuff. Yeah.
Food choices?
Yeah. But
Not
it's
a
getting
lot.
better. It's a lot better than it used to be even 5 years ago. So. But the big one is Russians are closed. And so when they walk down the street, people don't smile at you, and if you smile at them, they'll think you're strange.
Yeah,
It's
this is
very
what everybody
That's
says.
that's just the big one for Americans. It's really different. But Russians have a fantastic vocabulary for swearing. They also have a fantastic and more complex vocabulary for friendship.
Right.
Russian, and so some of the best and worst things in Russia are the same thing. You know, like people. I'm not a big fan of the little apartments there.
Mm-hmm.
They're like little. I mean, compared to the U.S., these little tiny apartments, little kitchens. There's not a lot in them, but one of the greatest things is being in there with all your friends and having beer,
Yeah.
and this is great. You know?
But I think they're a lot more soundproof still. I feel the walls are
Oh,
actually
yeah.
real walls.
I
a
don't
lot
know
of
about that.
I don't know, it depends, but I've noticed in US a lot of it's like you pretty much can shake the wall, but
Yeah.
here
They're
it's more
definitely thinner. Also, like, yeah, they're. I really feel like they're really thick cement walls.
yeah. No,
No,
yeah.
but then my neighbor had he was like this Russian teenager, and he was playing. I think he was playing some like Counter-Strike shooting game,
Mm-hmm.
and then he would yell swearing in English. Yeah, it was
It's
super,
interesting.
he would be like, "Die, motherfucker, die!" and it was super.
This is
funny.
what kids know, motherfucker and fuck. But of
Yeah.
course they pronounce it not like Americans
super
do it.
funny.
It's
I thought it was
probably
the funniest
sounds
thing
so
I've ever
funny.
heard in my life.
Yeah. All right. It's good to learn about your experience. I'm sure we'll make some more videos. But do you want to show your Russian? Tell us something in Russian before we finish.
Oh no.
Let us give you a minute. Just look at your wife, and she will tell you what to say. Maybe you can tell your wife that you love her, for example. Okay.
Zaya.
One more time. One more time.
Okay, so there's the Russian word Zaya, which is like bunny,
Zaya.
and she hates it.
Я тебя люблю,
She hates
Zaya.
it.
Okay, repeat
Я
it.
тебя люблю, Zaya.
That's great.
No, she's-
Okay, guys, this is Russian American Renaissance, Victoria
No,
James.
I won't say that.
And keep watching my videos. See you next time.